talk about all the things that I already said and then give you the action items. And this is where I really think like there's some really good stuff here. So here we go. Recap. Just to recap. The separation act is where we meet the hero in their normal world and learn about their flaws, problems, and motives. We are introduced to their sidekicks, rivals, and mentors. The hero receives a call to adventure and shortly after meets the mentor or guide who gives them the tools and information for their journey ahead, As the hero sets out toward the special world, they face multiple threshold guardians that try to prevent them from crossing the threshold of adventure. Once they cross the threshold, they are normally swallowed up into the belly of the whale, where they get their first taste of death and are baptized into the special world. Through this act, the hero meets several characters, including sidekicks, heralds, mentors, threshold guardians, and antagonistic forces. Now we go into the action items, and I'm going to do this for every chapter in this book, and you'll see in other books, this is what I do. So I may not read through all these guys because my voice is getting hoarse, but I'll read through a couple. Take a moment to write down answers to all of these questions. Flaw. What is your hero's major flaw, weakness, or crutch? This should be a thought process or a lie that prevents them from reaching their full potential. For example, greed, addiction, lust, reliance on rules, law, system, logic, overly dependent or independent, requires validation and attention, overconfidence. What is their scar? Why have they developed this flaw? What caused this mindset? Abuse, death of a loved one, breakup, lost job, promotion, family responsibilities, job responsibilities, perceived obligation. The hero intro. What is the most effective way to introduce your character? Working at their job, farmer chasing down horses, cop saving a child from a criminal, businesswoman aggressively closing a deal, picking a pickup artist with a girl, interacting with their friends and family, airship captain interacting with their crew, parent talking to the children, etc., etc. I'm not going to read through all these. I'm sorry, guys. My voice is like killing me here. But you get the point. Like, I'm not just showing you the examples, which, by the way, there's over 72 examples of modern stories and how they line up with each and every single one of the stages, the classic stages. But I have these action items, and they go really in depth, as you can see. Like we just keep going. And each of those action items, what we're doing is I'm getting you to think about your story and how you can use the monomyth in your story. We talk about world physics, the catalyst, the refusal, the acceptance, and it just goes on, guys. I wish I could show you guys more, but that's why you can buy the book. Hey, there goes my pitch. There goes my shameless pitch. So again, guys, you can go to Amazon.com and you can purchase the book. It's currently, as of the recording of today, it's $3.99. I'm pretty sure I'm going to raise that price back up $1 or $2 because it sells well. And I personally think that this is a great, not just because I wrote it, but this is the book that I wish I had. And this is the main reason I wrote the damn book. It's because I wish I had this book like years ago when I started my writer's journey. Because first of all, a lot of the stuff that we read in writing books are like, you know, how to do dialogue or how to plot. And it's like none of that really matters if you don't understand this underlying narrative architecture. And I'm not saying that the monomyth is the only narrative architecture that you can use, but in my opinion, it is the most effective for most fiction stories in particular. So, and I just wish that there had been a book like this when I was younger that not just told you the stages, but also showed you where, like, how they line up with stories that you know of. Because that's another thing too. Like, if you're not familiar with some of the books or stories that Joseph Campbell mentions in A Hero with a Thousand Faces, like, you have to learn those stories at the same time that you're learning the monomyth. Now, granted, some of the stories he uses are like, you know, the story of the Minotaur and Odysseus and things like that, like the Iliad. Like, those things most people know about. But then, like, I know for Arabian Nights, even though I had heard of it, I didn't know the story. So the whole time he's going through it, like, I'm learning the story as, you know, it was just, this is much easier and way less academic. That's another thing too, right? In the premise of the book, as I'm going through, like, trying to sell a person on the book, one of the big selling points is this is not overly academic. You know, I'm assuming that you're familiar enough with the monomyth that you realize it's going to help you with your writing and that it has a basis in psychology. But what I'm not going to do is try to pinpoint where either Freud or Jung or some other psychoanalyst put, you know, the underlying reasons why we think this way, and you know, none of that. Like, what I'm trying to do is say, as a writer who needs to write a story, what do you need to know to use it the most effective way possible? That's really, that's what it boils down to. So I hope that's helpful. I hope you guys